All right, Shalom. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shai, by Hashem, Rukah Kodash. I want to say double honors to the apostles and the bishop elders at Great Millstone for teaching his word in truth and sincerity for ruling well. And salutations to my fellow Akim across the four corners of the globe, preaching and prophesying in the name of Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shai. Yeah, my brother Gabar Yahweh from GMS Hawaii, coming to you with another lesson. And this lesson, I'm going to make it quick. It was inspired by a video Apostle Tahar did earlier today, entitled "How Do We Know When the Sabbath Comes In?" Okay, and it was something that this guy from IUIC, he's a brother from IUIC. He said, he was speaking about the Gregorian calendar, and to me, it sounded like he was saying that Yahweh Shai followed the same Gregorian calendar. Look it up, which that's not true. Okay, and as far as the new moon being on a full moon, that's false as well, because that's something that IUIC teaches. And all you got to do is just Google it. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, you got to surf through a lot of misinformation on the internet, but for the most part, a lot of the stuff that pop up, especially if you have a particular question, truth comes up. Our forefathers didn't follow a Gregorian calendar. During the time of Yahushua, what was a popular calendar that the Romans used was a Julian calendar. Okay, and these different nations, they had several days within a week. Sometimes it can be 8, sometimes it can be 7. It all depends. You know, but the calendar in which Yahushua obviously followed was that of his people, the Hebrew calendar, the Israelite calendar, which was a lunar calendar. Okay, not a Gregorian calendar. So I'm gonna play a little bit of this real quick, and then we'll get into the lesson. Let me rewind. It's just a taste, and then we'll get into it. Data he just made up. It's a custom of ours to keep the Sabbath day holy. You understand? If you look at your calendar today, I know you don't agree that it's the same calendar. It's the same Gregorian calendar. You can look it up yourself. If you don't, and that's not true. That's not true at all. I type in when was the Gregorian calendar created, and it was created in 1582. The Gregorian calendar was instituted by Pope Gregory the 13th in 1582, and quickly adopted by much of Catholic but not Protestant Europe. Okay, so this calendar wasn't created for during the time of Yahweh Shai. And there's a lot of mistakes within the Gregorian calendar, all of these calendars, because when these Edomites came into power, they would add days, they would take days away. Salaki. Saying these different nations, whenever they would rule, they had different days. They would take days and add days. They would, just mess up the whole calendar. And even today, the Gregorian calendar isn't an accurate calendar, not for us as Israelites. That's why you may hear the elder apostles or bishop elders in the past would say, we really don't know what time we're in because the calendars has all been jacked up. And so in reality, we're just rehearsing the righteous acts. That's what the scripture says, that we were rehearsing the righteous acts. In the place of drawing waters, there shall they rehearse the righteous acts, right? Which is the law, statutes, commandments. And obviously, we're talking about the Sabbath. Actually, this evening, Wednesday, May 10th, right now, we're currently in the Sabbath. This evening began the Sabbath, okay? And so again, these different nations, they would add days. The ancient Babylonians, they followed a 7-day calendar. And this is what the internet says. And remember, I said some of this stuff is not true. So you got to, keep the meat, spit out the bones. It says evidence indicate, however, that the Jews, I typed in how many days were in a Babylonian week, and they say 7 days. Evidence indicates, however, that the Jews may have borrowed the idea of the week from Mesopotamia, which we come from the Mesopotamia. Our forefather Abraham came out of Mesopotamia. For the Sumerians and the Babylonians divided the year into weeks of 7 days, into weeks of 7 days each, one of which they designated a day of recreation, which we don't have a day of recreation. All right, the Sabbath day is a day of rest, not a day of play. Okay, I'm just going to search this word, make sure I'm saying it right. Okay. Because I thought it says recreation, but it says recreation, right? an activity done for enjoyment, and that's not what we do. The Sabbath is not a day of enjoyment; it's a day of rest. Okay, it's a day of ceasing from your labors. Okay, so we didn't borrow this from the Babylonians. And then the Sabbath goes all the way back to the creation of the world, of the earth, of the universe. 6 days, the powers did the work of Yahweh Shem Shai. And then on the seventh day, which is the 7,000th year, we rested from doing all the Lord's work, including the Lord. Nothing was done on that 7,000 year. And that 1,000 year period was a period of rest. All right. And so we apply that to us here on this planet through the word of Yahweh Shem Shai. This is the book of Exodus, chapter 20, verse 8. Remember the Sabbath day and keep it holy. All right. What does it mean to keep it holy? All right. Okay. That word for holy is kodash, right? And it says consecrated, sanctified, dedicated, hallowed, to be holy, be sanctified, be separate, to set apart, hallowed, show oneself sacred or majestic, to be honored. All right. And so on this particular day, we're not to do any manner of work. Obviously, we're in captivity, so you actually got brothers that got to work on the Sabbath. We're in captivity, so things ain't going to go as smoothly as possible. But in the kingdom of heaven, this Sabbath will be strictly adhered to for everybody, from the Israelites to these other nations. All right, I'll just get this real quick. This is so out here. Yep, Judges 5 and 11. This is the book of Judges, chapter 5, verse 11. Judges 5 and 11 says, they that are delivered from the noise of archers, which is the nuclear missiles, in the place of drawing waters, which we're at, this is slavery, there shall they rehearse the righteous acts of the Lord, even the righteous acts toward the inhabitants of his village in Israel. Then shall the people of the Lord go down to the gates. All right. So in the place of drawing waters, what we're doing is we're rehearsing the righteous acts, so that in the kingdom of heaven, obviously, we're gonna keep it perfect. No more rehearsal. The Hebrew word there for rehearse is tanah, and it says to recount, to rehearse, to tell again. It says a primitive root identical to through the idea of attributing honor, to ascribe, to celebrate, to commemorate, to lament, to rehearse. And that's what we're doing. We're rehearsing these righteous acts down here, man. You got these guys from IUIC who constantly misleading the flock of the Lord, and those that are going to be had by this, they will be had by it. As the scripture says, the simple believeth every word. That's why you got to just look it up. Just Google it. And that's what I'm going to title the lesson. Just Google it. If you want to know what the new moon is, if you don't believe what the apostles and the bishop elders are saying to us and teaching us, then just look it up yourself. That's what the apostles teach us to do, to look this stuff up, man. So again, going back to what this guy said about the Gregorian calendar, let me rewind it and play it again.
And it's the same calendar. It's the same Gregorian calendar. You can look it up this specific day. It wasn't a day that he just made up. It's a custom of ours to keep the Sabbath day holy. You understand? If you look at your calendar today, I know you don't agree that it's the same calendar. It's the same Gregorian calendar. You can look it up yourself.
And that's not true. Again, the Gregorian calendar was created in 1582. All right? The Gregorian calendar was created in 1582. And just like the Julian calendar, they would add days and take days off. It says what calendar, I typed in what calendar did, it said Jesus, but his name is Yahweh Shai. The Julian calendar is the one that was introduced in the year 46 BC by Julius Caesar to all the Roman Empire. And it is a calendar that was used during the life of Jesus Christ and at the time of the early church. But they didn't use they didn't use the Julian calendar. Look, how many days are a Julian calendar? So they had 365.25 days, right? But Caesars would take days and add days from the year. I'm gonna type that. So I just typed in, did Caesars add days to the Julian calendar? And it says, then Julius Caesar came along. Let me read this. I want to read this article real quick. It says the Babylonian New Year's Day was March 23rd. March was a logical time period for the new year because spring begins and crops are planted, which we didn't celebrate a Babylonian New Year. That wasn't what that was about. But remember, the New Year is always in the spring. The beginning of the year is always in the spring. All right? That's Passover. Yeah, it's always in the spring, right? It says that Yahweh Shah was born in the spring. It says, did you know the Babylonian New Year's Day was March 23rd? March was a logical time period for the new year because spring begins and crops are planted. Even the Romans celebrated the new year on March 1st, not January 1st. The custom of setting New Year's resolutions began during this period in Rome, which shows you that we're in Rome all over again, because a lot of these cultural aspects in which people follow, they're followed here in this world today. It says it says even the Romans celebrated the new year on March 1st, not January 1st. The custom of setting New Year's resolutions began during this period in Rome, with such resolutions usually involving a moral flavor, mostly to be good to others. Then Julius Caesar came along and changed the calendar in order to realign the Roman calendar with the sun. Julius Caesar had to add 90 extra days to the year 46 BC. When he introduced his new Julian calendar, he also changed New Year's Day to January 1st, which we still celebrate. Well, we don't celebrate it, but which is still celebrated and adhered to even in this day, modern day Rome. Caesar wanted to honor Janus, the two-faced god who looked backwards into the old year and forward into the new. And that's another reason why even the days of the week, they're named after idols. Somebody came on to actually, I think it was this video right here, and to the comment board earlier, and came at Elder Yashawamba when he made a comment. He says the English Saturday originates from the Roman god Saturn and can be recognized from Latin, where the day is called Dies Saturni. And then somebody was like, wrong, where is your source? And it says, where's your source that is wrong? You know, it's just Google search right away. Exactly. But, the average person, especially the average scoffer, they're not going to go on Google. They claim they don't trust the internet and all this other shit, but then they're on the internet spewing out madness themselves, right? So people just don't look things up. And when you start to look things up, like the Church of Berea, it says, let me see if I can find it. So Acts chapter 17, verse 10, it says, Paul at Berea. And the brethren immediately sent away Paul and Silas by night unto Berea, who coming thither went into the synagogue of the Jews. These were more noble than those of Thessalonica, in that they received the word with all readiness of mind, and searched out the scriptures daily whether those things were so. So when they were told things about the scriptures from Paul and Silas, they didn't just, okay, I believe it. No, they believed it, and they took the word with all readiness and of mind, but then they looked it up to make sure it was true. It says right here in the NLT, and the people of Berea were more open-minded than those in Thessalonica, and they listened eagerly to Paul's message. They searched the scriptures day after day to see if Paul and Silas were teaching the truth, man. And that's something that the vast majority of these people that call themselves Israelites, they're not doing. They're not searching the scriptures to see if what Nate and these guys are saying is true. They just believe it because they got microphones and they all dress the same and they all well coordinated. You just listen to what these guys saying because they got the microphone. They yelling in the microphone, talking all loud and shit. But what they're saying, all you got to do is Google it to see if it's correct or not. And 9 times out of 10, it ain't. Especially when they're talking about the Sabbath. This guy, in regards to him talking about the Gregorian calendar, was the same calendar that they used back then, which it wasn't. We just proved that they use a Julian calendar, and Julius Caesar wasn't the only one that added days, took days away. You got the month of August, which is named after Augustus Caesar. He added a day. That's why it's 31 days in that month. Okay, so these people, they would add days and take days away. And let's look up a question: how correct is the Gregorian calendar? Right? I typed in how correct is the Gregorian calendar. The Gregorian calendar was first adopted in Italy, Poland, Portugal, and Spain in 1582. It is regarded as one of the most accurate calendars in use to Slovakia. The Gregorian calendar was first adopted in Italy, Poland, Portugal, and Spain in 1582. It is regarded as one of the most accurate calendars in use today, but it maintains a margin of error of about 27 seconds per year. That's 1 day every 3,236 years. It says no perfect calendar. Why we have leap years? Yeah, because in the ancient world we didn't have a leap year. It says um do other calendars have leap years? It says yes, the Chinese calendar has leap years featuring leap months rather than leap days, as in the Gregorian. A Hindu leap year is featured an extra month. Ethiopian calendar has 13 months, where the 13th month has 5 days and a common year of 6 years, 6 in a leap year. Nah, man, this shit is off, man. Um, it says we do a fair bit of leaping about, even adjusting universal time with leap seconds, accounting for irregular changes in the Earth's rotation. It's all wicked, man. And the scripture said that this man would change times, man. He shall seek to change time, right? This is the book of Daniel 7:25, right? It says, and he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High, which he's doing, and think to change times and laws, and they shall be given into his hand until a time and times and a dividing of times. And that's what's happening. Okay? The Gregorian calendar is not a correct calendar. All right, not for the Israelites, because that's not a calendar we followed in the ancient world. So let's get back to where we were at. This is the book of Acts, speaking of Salakia. So again, this is Acts chapter 17, verse 11. These were more noble than those of Thessalonica, that they received the word with all readiness and of mind, and searched the scriptures daily whether those things were so. So again, when you're receiving this word, it's good to receive it with a open mind, an understanding mind, but you also need to look it up to see if it's correct, because people can just tell you anything. As the scripture said again, I have quoted it early: the simple believe every word, but the prudent seek out his goings. I'll get that real quick. Um, this is the book of Proverbs 14 and 15. Okay, Proverbs 14 and 15. Okay. Yep. Proverbs 14 and 15 in the KJV and the NLT. It says, the simple believeth every word, but the prudent man looketh well to his goings. And the NLT, it says, only simpletons believe everything that they're told. The prudent carefully consider their steps, man. So only a foolish person will just believe anything that somebody tell you. You hear this dude on a microphone, he's talking loud, and you know they seem to be in order, so it's kind of appealing to your eye. But you gotta understand what these people are saying and look it up, man, because a lot of the information these people spewing out is not correct. So let me rewind what he said again, and bring some more information out.
Of ours to keep the Sabbath day holy. You understand? If you look at your calendar today, I know you don't agree that it's the same calendar. It's the same Gregorian calendar. You can look it up yourself.
It's not the same Gregorian calendar because they didn't use the Gregorian calendar in the ancient world. I typed this up. What kind of calendar was used when Yahushua was alive? It says, I specifically can't say, but I think he followed the Jewish calendar prevalent then. The Jewish lunar calendar with 29 days per month. Remember, these different nations, they had different calendars, man. When we were underneath of these heathen in these different captivities, some of us followed their calendars, and some of us kept the lunar calendar, or we might have kept both, you know. But we had 29 days per month, whereas the Edomites would have 30 days or 31 days a month. This is going off. He did follow Jewish traditions, festivals, etc., didn't he? So why would he be different in following their calendar? It says, many calendars were in use when Yahushua was alive. This is true. The Roman calendar was used in the Roman Empire. The calendar resembled our current calendar, because we're in Rome all over again, that is used worldwide in international affairs. The days, though, were numbered in a different way. The Julian calendar did not use weeks. It had 12 months, 365 days, and a leap year every fourth year. 3 days in the month had a special name, Kalinda, Nona, and Edis. The Jews used a calendar based on the moon. They had months and weeks of 7 days. In India was also a calendar and use based on the moon, because it all goes back to the garden where our forefathers did the same thing as Shem, Ham, and Japheth, and Noah, and the sons of God. How do you think we could understand? The Lord told us in what? Genesis chapter 1, through the Alahayim. All right? I'm just going to type it up. I'm going to go straight to the point. Yep, this is Genesis chapter 16, verse, and I'll start at 15. And let them be for lights. I'll start at 14. And the powers said, let there be lights in the firmament of the heavens to divide the day from the night. The moon and the day are the evening, or the day and the evening are separated by what lights? The day has the sun, which is the greater light, right? But then the night has the moon and stars. And it says, and the stars are always lit, but you can't see them during daytime. It says, let there be lights in the firmament of heaven to divide the day from night, and let them be for signs and for seasons and for days and for years. And let them be for lights in the firmament of the heaven to give light upon the earth. And it was so. And the and the powers made two great lights, the greater light to rule the day, which is the sun, and the lesser light to rule the night, which is the moon. He made stars also. So the white man will tell you that the moon doesn't have its own light, which is a lie. It does have its own light, but it's just a lesser light than the sun. It's not as bright as the sun, but it has its own light. Those, okay. So you got to look this stuff up, man. You just can't just be saying things out of your mouth and you don't know what you're talking about. This is, you type in the phases of the moon, right? You have a full moon, which you can see all the light on one side of the moon. Then you have a third quarter moon, which is split in half. And then you have the new moon, which is a dark moon, which meaning that there's no light shining on that particular side of the moon. That's the dark side of the moon facing the earth. That's the new moon. And the new moon it starts on May 19th, which is a Thursday. All right, but it's gonna go from Wednesday evening. It's gonna go from Thursday evening to Friday evening, because right now the current new moon is April 19th through May 19th, right? So April 19th was a Wednesday. So like April 19th, I'm gonna get a calendar so you can see. I was looking on my phone. A 2023 calendar right? The 2023 calendar, April 19th was a Wednesday. That's why right now, from Wednesday to Thursday is a new moon, or is the Sabbath. But the new moon was what? Wednesday, April 19th to Thursday 20 to Thursday evening, which is the 20th, right? So this new moon will start on Thursday going into Friday, which is the 19th. So that's the new moon. You see? And we did this in the ancient world, brothers. This is what we did in the ancient world. We followed the lunar calendar because that's what is given to us. So May 19th, which is a Friday, is going to be the new moon, but it's going to start on Thursday evening, going into Friday evening, because right now we're doing um Shabbat. We're doing Thursday on Wednesday into Thursday, right? So this is how the new moon is dictated. The new moon is not a full moon ever, ever. The new moon is a dark moon, like Apostle Gabar was saying and bringing out and teaching us, man. Right now, you got different phases of the moon. Let me see if I can find that. So yeah, I had a picture of it. I need this. I can't find it. I had a picture of the different moons, but it doesn't matter. I made the point there. So the Hebrew calendar, also called the Jewish calendar, is a lunar solar calendar used today for Jewish religious observances, which we didn't use a lunar solar calendar. All right. It's what it says. Basic chronology of biblical period. From very early times, the Babylonian calendar was in wide use by the countries in the Near East. The structure, which was also used by the Israelites, was based on lunar months. A lunar calendar is a lunar calendar. I'm sorry. In lunar calendars, a lunar month is the time between the successive syzygies of the same type, new moon or full moons. The precise definition varies, especially for the beginnings of the month. And as you see right here, they have an illustration of the moons, the different phases of the moon, right? But the new moon is always a dark moon, all right? It's dark, okay? Biblical references of the pre-exilic or before we were exiled included 10 of the 12 months identified by number rather than by name. You had the first month, second month, third month, just like you had the first day, second day. The names of only 4 months are referred to in the Tanakh: Aviv, Ziv, Ethanim, and Bul. The first month, the second month, the seventh month, and the eighth month. And this is the calendar that we're going to go to in the kingdom of heaven. You're going to have, look, the beginning of the Hebrew, of the holy days is the Passover, which really the Sabbath day, but it says the Passover right here. Month 1, that's the Passover month. It says the length was 30 days. Then it says the second, the Peshach, I don't know this. And 29 days, 30 days, 29 days, 30 days. You notice that there's no 31 days in a month, man. Those days were just added. Okay? So this is the book of Exodus, chapter 20, verse 7. And thou shalt not take, I'm sorry, verse 8, remember the Sabbath day and keep it holy. 6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work, but the seventh day is a Sabbath. The Lord Yahweh Bashem Shai thy power, uh, in it thou shalt not do any work, thou nor thy son, nor thy daughter, nor thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within thy gates. For in 6 days the Lord Yahweh Bashem Shai made heaven and the earth and the sea, and all that in them is, and rested the seventh day. Wherefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it. And this is the reason why we have 7-day weeks, or this is the reason why we follow the calendar that we follow, because it goes back to Genesis. So the Lord don't want us working 7 days a week. So what? On that 7th day we rest, and you don't do any kind of work. You rest. You chill out, man. That word for rested in the Hebrew, is Noah. So where you get the word Noah from? Nuach, rest. Nuwa. Don't take that. Take that with a grain of salt, because I know that Noah means, I think, comfort. But anyway, it says Noah, which is to rest, to settle down, to remain, to rest, to be quiet. You know, and if you can all help it, you chill out. You don't do much. You don't do nothing on that day. And you do videos. That's good. That's what we're doing right now. That's what the Apostle Heart teaches us. You know, so we're supposed to do that. Okay. Let's see if I answered most of the stuff that I wanted to answer. Yeah, I pretty much saw it. That was pretty much it. I did type in the names of the weeks, the names of days of the week, like Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday. These different days that we know today. They weren't called that during our time, the ancient times. Okay. These different names of the month, they come from different gods and idols. It says Sunday, meaning sun's day. This is the translation of the Latin phrase Dies Solis. And this guy said on right here, where's your source? Well, here's one right here, Wikipedia. The white man and his academia tell you don't look on Wikipedia, but fuck him, man. We know what we talking about, man. Let me go back to that. Right here. Right here. This is a source right here. And if you want the source, you can click right here, and it'll go down. It'll show you the Old English, the source, so you can source the material. But this is a source right here, like Elder Yashwamba said. He was speaking about Saturday though. I'm sorry, no, he was speaking about Sunday. Let me see. He says, "Yep, Saturday. That originates from the Roman Saturn and can be recognized in Latin, which is Dies Saturni." Right. So let's go back to that. Right here, it says Saturday, named after the Roman god Saturn, associated with the Titan Cronus, father of Zeus and many Olympians. Its original Anglo-Saxon rendering was Sutendag, and in Latin it was Dies Saturni, day of Saturn, Nordic languator. So this is, come on, bro. What are you talking about? You got Dies Solis, which is Sunday, Monday, meaning moon's day. This is equivalent to the Latin name Dies Lunae. All right. Tuesday was a one-handed god associated with Tuesday, meaning Tuesday. That's how they say it in Baltimore. Tuesday was a one-handed god associated with a single combat and pledged in Norse mythology. Also attested. So these different days that you celebrate today, there are days that we had in the ancient world. We didn't have a Monday, a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday in the ancient world, bro. Especially in the ancient Israelite calendar. And these days, they switch up through the different calendars that you're particularly using. When I was in the army, we used two calendars. We used the Gregorian calendar and we used the Julian calendar. So the Julian day could be different than the Gregorian day. And we'd be on the same day, a Monday, but it'd be different. Thursday or Wednesday, meaning the Germanic god Woden, known as Odin among the North Germanic peoples, is a prominent god of Anglo-Saxons and in England until about the 7th century. Thursday, meaning Punar Day, or Punar means thunder, Thor's Day, is a personification of the Norse god known as the modern English as Thor. So come on, man. Ain't no Monday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday in the Bible, bro. And these guys don't know. But you would know if you just Google it. So the title of the lesson is Just Google It. All right? If that's a shalom, on to the next, and I hope you're edified.